Good morning. Today we'll be studying the 27th chapter of Hilchot Shabbat. And this chapter is going to deal with the fourth mitzvah that we listed at the beginning of when we studied Hilchot Shabbat. The mitzvah is not leaving the boundaries of a city, and the details in reference to that mitzvah. Hilchot Shabbat, Perek Kaf Zayin, Halacha Aleph. היוצא חוץ לתחום המדינה בשבת לוקה. Anyone who leaves the city limits on Shabbat receives lashes. Just to refresh, whenever Harambam says loke, it's in reference to a Torah violation, as we'll see later. Makat Mardut is a rabbinic violation. So anyone who leaves the limits of the city on Shabbat receives lashes, as it says, as it says in the pasuk that we read a few weeks ago in Parashat Beshalach, that let no man leave his place on the seventh day. Makom, when we say place, we're referring to the following: Zehu tehum ha'ir. This is the limit of a city, and we're going to get again into exactly the details of the limits and how far one can go in the next few minutes. However, the Torah did not exactly define the dimensions for the limits that we're referring to. However, the sages, transmitted that the limit is outside of 12 mil. 1 mil is 2,000 amot. So when we say Tehum Shabbat Mina Torah, we're referring to 24,000 amot. Just to give everyone an idea of how much an amma is, 1 amma is 2,000 amot is around 1 kilometer. Why exactly did Chachamim transmit 24,000 mil? Keneged Machane Israel, because it corresponded to the size of the camp of Israel when they were traveling in the desert. V'kach amar lahem Moshe, and this is what Moshe told them. Lo tetzeu chutz lamachane. So when Moshe Rabbeinu told them, Al yetze ish mimekomo b'yom hashiv'i, that let no man leave his place on the seventh day, the place that he was referring to is outside of the camp. Umidivre soferim, שלא יצא אדם חוץ לעיר אלא עד 2,000 אמה, אבל חוץ ל2,000 אסור. And the sages instituted that a person may only distance himself from the city up to 2,000 amot. However, more than 2,000 is prohibited. ש2,000 הוא מגרש העיר, because 2,000 is the open field around the city. Also, in reference to this Migrash Ha'ir and 2,000 Amot, this is also the space given to the Kohanim for the open space around their cities as well. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see it in Hilchot Shemitah V'Yovel, Perek Yod Gima. הלכה ב' נמצאת ללמד שמותר לאדם בשבת להלך את כל העיר כולה. We find that on Shabbat it is permissible for a person to walk within the entire city on Shabbat. Afilu hayata keNineveh, despite the fact being a city like Nineveh. Nineveh was an old city where modern-day Iraq is today, and it had more than 120,000 inhabitants, as Yonah Navi tells us in Perek Daled Pasuk Yod Aleph. Ben shehayata mukefet homa, ben shelo hayata mukefet homad, whether it having a wall around it, whether it didn't have a wall around it. וכן מותר לו להלך חוץ לעיר 2,000 אמה לכל רוח מרובעות כטבלה מרובעת, כדי שיהיה נשקר הזוויות. So too, it is permissible for someone to distance himself and walk outside the city up to 2,000 amot in all directions, in a square. So imagine you have the city, and imagine a square around it, 2,000 amot in every direction, and you can go to the corners, and you gain those corners as well. So again, imagine imagine 2,000 amot in directions north, south, east, and west. And if anyone wants, Rabbi Yochai Makbili has a great illustration of exactly, in order so anyone can really picture the Tikkun Shabbat. And again, it's 2,000 in every direction. And if he went outside the city more than 2,000 amot, he gets lashes for violating a rabbinic prohibition. And in contrast to someone who is lokeh, which is 40 haser had, or 39 lashes, the amount for makat mardut is determined by the court. Ad shenem asar mil. So if a person went from 2,000 amot up to 12 mil, he is violating a rabbinic prohibition. However, if a person left the city and went over 12 mil, if he overstepped even one amma above 12 mil, he receives lashes for violating a Torah prohibition. So again, just to sum up, if you have a city, a person can walk all over the city. Hachamim instituted a 2,000 amma limit outside of the city, and Min Torah, it is prohibited to go over 12 mil outside the city. If a person exits the tihum, the limit, above or higher than 10 tefahim, for example, if someone skipped from pillar to pillar that are higher, that each one is higher than 10 tefahim, and each one has less than 4 by 4 amot, we are unsure in regards to if there are tihum, that if tihum Shabbat applies above 10. However, if a person skipped from pillar to pillar, for example, and on each pillar there was 4 by 4 amot or more, it is as if he is walking on land, and it is in the prohibition of Tihum Shabbat applies to him there. מי ששבת בדיר שבמדבר או בסהר או במערה וכיוצא בהן מישות היחיד, מהלך את כולה וחוצה לה 2,000 אמה לכל רוח בריבוע. Anyone who established his residence on Shabbat in a cattle pen or in a corral is a fenced off area that they would keep animals, or bim'ara, or in a cave, and anything of this sort that would be considered a Reshut HaYachid, a person can walk outside and around it up to 2,000 amot in all directions in a square. Again, the Tehum, picture a square in your mind around the Reshut HaYachid and 2,000 amot extending to each side. So to anyone who establishes his Shabbat residence in an open space, even if he was sleeping at the time that Shabbat entered, that he did not conclusively establish his residence, so too he can go 2,000 amot in every direction squared. If a person is walking in an open space and he doesn't know how far his tihum extends, a person can walk 2,000 paces, medium-sized paces, and that would be his limit for that Shabbat. ושלמה מידתו בתוך דיר או סהר או מערה או בתוך המדינה. If a person was walking 2,000, if a person was walking and reached his 2,000 amal limit, and he ends up inside one of these rishiyot hayahid, or inside of a city. So again, the deer is a pen, sahar is a corral, and me'ara is a cave. Or if he ends up in a city, eno mehalech ella ad sof midato. A person may only walk up into his 2,000 amot limit. ואין אומרים, הואיל לכלתה מידתו בתוך רשות היחיד מהלך את כולה. And we don't say that because his limit ends inside a reshut hayahid, the private domain, we allow him to walk all over the private domain. במה דברים אמורים? When do we apply this rule? בשכלתה מידתו במקצת העיר או במקצת המערה. This rule applies only if his limit only reached a part of the city or part of the reshut hayahid, the cave. אבל אם הייתה אותה רשות היחיד מובלעת בתוך 2,000 אמה שלו, however, if the reshut hayahid was included inside his 2,000 amot limit, תחשב לו כל אותה הרשות כארבע אמות ומשלמים לו את השאר. We can consider and calculate the reshut as if part of his 4x4 amot space, and he can go beyond the additional distance to complete the 2,000 amot limit. Now Rambam here will give an example. And again, if anyone has the Rabbi Yochai Makbili edition, he gives a great illustration for these halachot. הלכה ו' כיצד? הרי שהיה 1,000 אמה ממקום שביתתו או מחוץ לעיר, עד מדינה או מערה שיש באורכך 1,000 אמה או פחות מ-1,000. For example, if there was 1,000 amot from the place that he established his Shabbat residence or outside the city, up to a city and or a cave that is 1,000 amot across or less than 1,000, he may walk the entire city or the entire cave that he reached. And he can walk outside of that city 996 amot, because again, like we said, you have the 1,000 amot, and your reshut hayahid, the 4x4 space, is included and deducted from the 1,000 amot. Halacha zayin. Aval. No, sorry, we're still in halacha vav. Aval im haya. אבל אם היה במדינה או במערה שפגע בה בתוך מידתו 1,000 אמה ואמה, however, if the city or the cave that he encountered within his tehum was 1,001 amot, אינו מהלך בה אלא 1,000 אמה בלבד, he can only walk up to 1,000 amot, שהוא תשלום 2,000 שיש לו, because he completes the 2,000 amot that he is entitled. So again, just to clarify, we have two situations. One situation is in which the city or the Reshut HaYachid overlaps with his 2,000 amot and is included within his 2,000 amot, in which case a person may enter. However, if the city or the Reshut HaYachid was not included within his 2,000 amot, within his 2,000 amot, he may only walk up to his 2,000 amot limit. Halacha zayin. If someone's limit ended in the middle of the city, despite the fact that he is only allowed to walk up to his limit, again 2,000 amot, it is permissible to throw things throughout the entire city. So to anyone who established his Shabbat residence in an open space. Vekifu goyim mechitza b'Shabbat. And for example, goyim surrounded him with a partition on Shabbat. For example, they built a fence around him. A person may only walk within 2,000 amot in every direction, despite the fact that he is now surrounded by a fence. And it is permissible for him, just like in a city, to carry within the entire city, obviously, again, by throwing. You can throw an object anywhere in the city. If the partition that was made was for residential purposes. Anyone who is on his way to enter a city on Friday night, Ben Shaya Bayam, Ben Shaya Beharavat, whether he was on land or he was on the sea, if he entered within 2,000 amot to this, within 2,000 amot to the city limits before Shabbat entered, despite the fact that he did not enter the city itself on Shabbat, he may enter the city, and he can go walk within the entire city, and he can walk outside the city up to 2,000 amot in all directions. So if a person was traveling on Friday and he reached the city limits, he reached 2,000 amot within the city on Shabbat, on Friday, he may enter that city. And the 2,000 amot limit on Shabbat is included for him if he was traveling on Friday night. Sorry, if he was traveling on Friday. Someone should travel on Friday night. If a person was coming to a city and fell asleep on the way, and he did not wake up, and when he woke up, it was Shabbat rather. And when he awoke, he found himself inside the city limits, again, within 2,000 amot of the city. He may enter the city, and he may walk throughout the entire city, and he may go outside 2,000 amot for in every direction, because his intent was to arrive to the city and to walk throughout the city. And he acquired his residence with the inhabitants of the city because he entered the city limits again before Shabbat. Halacha Yod. And we're going to see in these halachot how Chachamim tried to limit the incentive for someone to leave the Tihum and applied a type of penalty for anyone leaving the Tihum. Anyone who exited his limit on Shabbat, even one amma may not re-enter. As the 4 amot the 4 amot space, the 4 amot domain that a person has begins from the place in which he is standing. Therefore, as a result of him leaving the Tihum, even 1 amma or more, yeshev bimkomo, he must sit in his place. Ve'en lo lehalech ella betoch 4 amot me'amidat raglav ve'lachutz. And he may only walk up to within 4 amot radius of where he may only walk a 4 amot radius beyond where his feet are. And חוץ לתחום המדינה אפילו אמה אחת. So to anyone who on Friday he was outside of the tihum, even if he was one amma outside of the tihum, harezed lo yikanes la ela yhalech mimmakom shenichnas alav hashabbat vehu omed bo 2,000 amma bilvad. He may not enter the city or the tihum, and he may walk no further than 2,000 ammot from where he stood when Shabbat entered. So he actually may enter the tihum, but he may only walk up to 2,000 ammot within the tihum. And if his limit was reached in the middle of the city, he may only walk up to his 2,000 amot limit, as we talked about in halachot he and vav. If he had 1 foot inside the tihum and 1 foot outside the tihum, he may enter the tihum. If a person left the tihum unintentionally, for example, if he was taken by goyim, or he had some type of neurosis and exited the tihum for whatever reason, or he totally made a mistake in regards to the tihum and exited the tihum, he only has the 4 amot radius that he may walk around outside of the tihum. And again, the 4 amot radius is relevant, as we talked about in the previous halachot of Shabbat, that a person has a 4x4 amot radius on Shabbat and may walk within that 4 amot. Hazal ledat en lo ella 4 amot. If he returned intentionally, if he returned to the tihum intentionally and knowingly, he only has the 4 amot by 4 amot radius. Chachamim here, you can see, penalized anyone who exited the tihum and entered the tihum purposely. If he was returned, for example, in the case of the goyim that took him out of the city, if he was returned, it's as if he never left, and he may. It's as if he never left, and the rules of tihum apply from him, as if he never left the city. Im netanuhu b'rishut hayachid, kigon shenetanuhu goyim bedir besahar um'ara or be'ir acheret, yesh lo lehalech et kulla. If the goyim placed him in a rishut yachid, for example, they put him in a pen or the corral or in a cave or in another city, he may walk throughout the entire rishut yachid or within the entire new city. Similarly, if someone entered one of these places by mistake and he remembered that he suddenly entered and left the tihum, he may walk throughout the entire area. Halachayot bet. יצא חוץ לתיחום לדעת. אף על פי שחזר שלא לדעת, כגון שהחזירוהו גויים ורוח רעה, אין לו אלא 4 אמות. If a person left the tihum purposely, despite the fact that he was brought back unintentionally, for example, if goyim brought him back or he had some type of neurosis that brought him back to the city, he only has the 4x4 amot. So too, if a person left the tihum purposely, even if he was placed within a reshut yachid, for example, in the dir or sahar that we mentioned, he only has the 4x4 amot, and he cannot walk across the entire reshut. If a person is voyaging in the great oceans, for example, the Mediterranean Sea, despite the fact that he is outside the tihum that he established his Shabbat residence in, he may walk across the entire boat, and he may carry across the entire boat as well, because the ship is traveling and moves, obviously, probably more than 2,000 amot in a day. So the tihum does not apply to the boat itself. Halacha Yod Gimel. If a person left the tihum unintentionally, and he was partitioned on Shabbat, for example, someone made a partition around him, he may walk throughout the entire partition, assuming that it was not more than 2,000 amot. מובלע מקצתו בתוך המחיצה שנעשית שלא לדעתו, הואיל ויש לו להלכת כל מחיצה, הרי זה נכנס לתחומו, וכיוון שייכנס, הרי הוא כאילו לא יצא. If the tihum that extends and overlaps from him overlaps a little bit with the partition that was made without his knowledge, because of the fact that he may walk throughout the entire mechitza, he may re-enter the tihum, despite the tihum, because the tihum extends further and overlaps with his mechitza, and because he if he exited the partition, he may re-enter the partition as if he did not leave the partition, because again the tihum extends further. Halacha Yodalid. If a person finds himself in one of the situations that we mentioned, that you only have the 4 amot domain on Shabbat, if he needed to relieve himself and go to the bathroom, he may exit his 4 by 4 amot domain, distance himself a little bit, relieve himself, and then return to the 4 by 4 amot domain that he was in previously. If a person, by distancing himself for the purpose of relieving himself, entered the tihum that he exited, so the example that Harambam here is referring to is the one we talked about previously, that if a person was outside, left the tihum, and he left the tihum by mistake, and then by relieving himself, re-enters the tihum, because he re-entered the tihum, he may now use that tihum and go the 2,000 amot and enter the city. And it's as if he didn't leave the tihum in the first place. And this is assuming that he left the city unintentionally. However, if a person intentionally left the city, despite the fact that he entered for the purpose of relieving himself, he only has his 4 by 4 amot space. Again, Hachamim probably penalized this type of person who left the tihum purposely. Tedvav, anyone who exited the tihum by the permission of the bet din, for example, witnesses who came to testify for the new moon, and anyone else who is permitted to leave the tihum for the purposes of a mitzvah, he has 2,000 amot in every direction at the place that he arrived to do that mitzvah. If he reached the city to do the mitzvah, he is considered an inhabitant of the city. He has 2,000 amot to every directions outside of the city and may walk within the entire city itself. Final halacha. If he left the tihum with the permission of Bedin, and he was told while he was on his way that the mitzvah that he was on his way to do was already done by someone else, יש לו ממקומו 2,000 אמה לכל רוח. He has 2,000 amot from the place that he was told in every direction. ואם היה מקצת תחום שיצא ממנו ברשות מובלע בתוך 2,000 שיש לו ממקומו, הרי זה חוזר בלי מקומו, ואילו לא יצא. If the 2,000 amot radius that extends from the place that he was in, that he was told, obviously, again, that the mitzvah was completed, if it overlaps, if the place that he left, the reshut that he left, is included and overlaps within the 2,000 amot radius that he has, that he established himself now, he may return to the place that he left, and it's as if he never left his original place. Anyone who exits the Tehom in order to save a Jewish life from Goyim, or from drowning, or from a collapsed building. They have 2,000 amot in every direction from the rescue point. If the Goyim were extremely aggressive and overpowering on the Jews, and the Jews were afraid to reside on Shabbat in the place that they rescued the other Jew, they may return to their original Shabbat residence, despite the fact that it may be more than 2,000 amot from where they were, and they may take their weapons with them. And this is an extremely important halakha and a great lesson for us, that we never want anyone to think twice about saving a Jewish life. Therefore, Chachamim allowed a person to leave the Tihum and return to his original Shabbat residence and carry his weapons if the Goyim were, again, overbearing, and a person would be afraid to establish his Shabbat residence outside of where he established it originally. B'ezras Hashem, tomorrow we'll study chapter 28.